It's 9 o'clock, July 21st, 8:30, excuse me. I'm stuck on 9. 8:30 for the special call meeting. Wesley will do the invocation, and I will lead the pledge to the flag.
Please rise.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity that we have to come together and do the public's business. Lord, may we use your wisdom, your guidance, and your knowledge. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Additions and deletions to the agenda. When I first called this meeting, I had one item in mind, which is the first one, dealing with the gut ideas that the state representative shared with me. The other item I don't think has a place on this agenda. It's number one, it's a anonymous letter, and number two, it's a very political letter, and I think it needs to go away. So I wish I could have a motion to delete that item. Not hearing one, we'll go ahead with the agenda as it is. Okay, my item has to do with mainly with this thing I got from Mr. Popple. It's an idea that sort of takes over where referenda don't want to go. And hopefully we're going to show this and maybe discuss it afterwards. So Kim, if you can, would you put this on? This is basically a citizen input item.
Florida, a place of promise. A promise that calls to people from throughout our great nation and all over the world. People in search of an opportunity, the opportunity of a better life for themselves, their children, and grandchildren. It is here where the future is always seemed as bright as the Florida sun. Yet today, many see the promise of Florida slipping away. Too many Floridians are uncertain and concerned about the future, and worst of all, they believe that no one is listening. But someone is.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Speaker Designate of the Florida House of Representatives, the Honorable Marco Rubio.
On the surface, Florida is the envy of the nation. We lead the country in economic growth and job creation. Yet underneath the surface, there is a pervasive sense of anxiety. Many Floridians have come to dread many of the products of our own prosperity. On a number of issues, from overcrowding to transportation, from the cost of housing to immigration, Floridians seem anxious and annoyed about the future. There's a widespread sense of financial insecurity. Many feel they are only one catastrophic illness or one hurricane away from losing everything they have ever worked for. Worst of all, too many Floridians have come to believe that they will not leave for their children what their parents left for them, a life better than their own. My colleagues, the most important issue facing Florida today is her future. And so today I ask this conference to make a commitment with the people of Florida about our future. A commitment that asks every Floridian to work hard and play by the rules. And in turn, we commit to creating a government whose central mission will be to ensure that every Floridian will have the freedom and the opportunity to achieve financial security and to leave their children with a better life than their own.
In Florida, there is a movement underway. It is being driven by those who hope to challenge and shape Florida's future. It is a movement guided by four basic fundamental principles. First, that government must listen to people and empower them. Second, that good ideas change lives. Third, that the government's money is the people's money. And fourth, that government and its elected representatives must be accountable to the people they serve. This movement and the people who believe in it will renew and preserve the promise of Florida.
We've been given an incredible opportunity to shape the future of Florida. The only way we can truly do this effectively is by listening. Listening to Floridians from all walks of life. We need to know what worries them, what are their hopes and dreams for the future, and then we'll take action.
Right now, there's a big gap between what worries people and what government is actually doing to address their concerns. We've got to make a new connection between the real problems of real people and how government can act more quickly and effectively to address them.
100 innovative ideas for Florida's future. More than just a book, a plan to renew and preserve the promise of Florida. These 100 innovative ideas will come from the people of Florida, and their ideas will guide Florida's government to make the right decisions for real people. This plan for Florida's future will be smart, detailed, and thoughtful. And while the ideas come from the people, government will be accountable for the results.
The involvement of the people of Florida is critical. This is not a book that the politicians or the special interests will write. The people are going to write this book. It's going to be their ideas that make up the book. It's going to be their agenda. And our responsibility is going to be to get it done.
Here's how it will work. People all over Florida will come together with family, friends, neighbors, and co-workers at idea raisers. At these gatherings, the people will speak and the lawmakers will listen. And the only goal will be to develop ideas that will help Floridians today and tomorrow. Floridians will also log on to 100ideas.org, an interactive website that runs on real time, so people can submit their ideas, view and comment on the ideas of others, and participate in live chats on specific issues with their representatives. If they'd like, Floridians will also be able to schedule their own idea raiser.
This will not be a collection of ideas that's on the shelf. This book of ideas will be an action plan. The people of Florida will be able to see in black and white their priorities and what we plan to do about them.
People want accountability from their elected leaders. And 100 innovative ideas for Florida's future is going to give them just that. We're going to listen to their concerns. We're going to hear their ideas. And then we're going to put them in writing. And we're going to provide them details on how and when we're going to get these things done. That's it, plain and simple. There's going to be no doubt on who we are and on what we stand for.
This book, 100 Innovative Ideas for Florida's Future, will once again connect what the people need most with what the government does best.
100 innovative ideas for Florida's future, a common sense approach. Listen to the people's concerns and their ideas for addressing them. Outline a plan, put it in writing, and then hold the leaders responsible for the results accountable, as it should be. And when finished, 100 innovative ideas for Florida's future will be the foundation for the movement. A movement that will change the culture of government and will shift the power away from the special interests. A movement marking an unprecedented partnership between the next 3 speakers of the Florida House of Representatives and the people they serve. A partnership that assures that this is not a plan designed for the next election, but rather a plan designed for the next generation.
I realize some people may be skeptical, but really this is their chance to get involved, their chance to make a difference for our state. Give us your ideas, host an idea raiser, log on to our website, and then let us get to work.
And if we aspire to continue to lead this state, then we must accept responsibility for the future. We cannot only see Florida as it is today, we must envision it as she can and should be tomorrow.
100 innovative ideas for Florida's future. A plan for Floridians by Floridians. A plan to renew and preserve the promise of Florida.
I think that about wraps it up. All right, well, you've heard what I've seen, and I was very impressed with this, and I understand, has the book, Representative Popple is here, has the book been published?
If I may.
Yes, you may. Please come to the podium. Tell us, it's the first time I've seen the book.
Yes, sir.
But it's already done.
Mr. Chairman and Commission, there's nothing in this book.
Oh, Dave.
Empty pages.
Empty today.
Everybody understand? I'm going to give this book to you, Mr. Chairman.
I can read that.
I'll read that one tonight. Yeah.
I want you to read
I've got
it from
time for
cover to
that one,
cover.
Ralph. I got time to read that one.
Okay. And what we're saying is good ideas, not just a wish list, but good ideas that helps govern Florida And I just thought it was a great idea, and it's something that I have signed on to with the next three speakers. And it's something that we're holding ourselves to in the legislature, and feel like that if we are asking people to give us their ideas, it's better if you go down and push a button. You don't have to think very much about that. But if you sit down and talk to someone about an idea and write it down and send the county commissioner and send the state legislature your idea, you've given it some thought, and that's what it's all about.
Thank you. What is the timetable for getting this book filled?
Oh, thank you for it's not something.
Ralph, you might want to get to the microphone so everybody can.
It's not something that's going to be done all in the speaker designate Marco Rubio's time of 2 years. This is something that's growing and moving. It's an evolution, and so the idea has to start somewhere. And we're having meetings around the state, and these ideas will be composed into a category to where we don't have a lot of duplicates, and then we'll take those. But it's a growing process, a fluid process.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Ralph. Well, gentlemen, that's all I have to give you. Are you interested in adopting something like this and,
I
doing
think
away with referendums? And
well, actually, no. But I like the idea that's laid forth. You know, I mean, as far as so many of the constitutional amendments that we've seen, this is a good opportunity to take it and keep it out of the Constitution, but still take it to the government. Mm-hmm. And I like that. I like that. As far as the reconsideration of what we have in front of us, in fact, I'll make a motion we put all three on this November's ballot still. And I mean, we still do this, but as far as, you know, on again, off again, on again, off again, it's starting to remind me of a school in Indian River County. That's a motion.
And I'll second that for discussion. I think the biggest thing, and it seems like for the last month and a half, I know it's election year, it's begun to become a tennis match. And I'm with you. What's been up there, let's do it and move forward and not involve the citizens of Indian River County getting this mudslinging.
I'm ready for the question, Mr. Chairman.
no further discussion?
No, sir.
I'm not sure what the question is. Are we voting?
My motion, if I may.
So if I vote no, I'm voting about taking the other one off?
This is for all of them. Put them all on.
Mm-hmm. Well, one's already on.
Yes, sir. This is for all of them.
So you'd be voting to put the other two on?
Yes, sir, I would.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
Aye.
Motion fails.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All right, item B, Gary, your item.
All right. I don't know how many. I know a lot of people because I've gotten in the neighborhood. I quit counting after 20-some phone calls yesterday about this letter that was sent out anonymously about the gun range. And the letter is absolutely, totally, and completely false. It's some of the worst conceived political documents or writings that I've seen. It's just one big lie after another in this letter. And then to send it out anonymous, I've done a little bit of quick investigation on this. I found out that the P.O. box that was used is false, doesn't exist. The paper, the letter also shows a couple of highlighted areas, underlined areas, and a coffee stain or something from a glass or a mug or whatever that's set on the paper. I'm going to have Kim put this on the overhead in a second and read the letter so everybody's familiar with it. Also because of the writing, the punctuation, the form, the style, I believe the letter was done professionally. It wasn't done by some guy sitting in his kitchen concerned about the gun range, and it was duplicated. And the best we can figure is this letter was sent to all people in Indian River County that have a concealed weapons permit. I haven't talked to anybody yet that doesn't have that permit, and that seems to be a common
Commissioner Weaver, I can tell you, I have a concealed weapons permit. I did not get this
You
letter.
didn't get one?
I did not get
When
this
did
letter.
you get your permit?
Oh, probably about a month ago.
Well, the reason is I think the legislature changed the concealed weapons permit in 2005 where it's not public information anymore. So this is an old list that they're using. And that's probably why you didn't get one, Tom. Kim, if you'd put that on the overhead, and then I'd appreciate it if you'd read the letter.
What's the significance of the coffee stain?
Just to make it look personal.
Well, mine doesn't have a coffee
No,
stain.
that's 'cause I think this must be
You've
a
got
copy.
a copy. You haven't got the original.
Wouldn't it copy? Thank you. Wouldn't it? Oh, darn, okay. You would have copied a coffee stain.
Stay right here. There's the original.
Oh, that's a coffee stain.
Dear neighbor and fellow gun owner, I write to you today because there's an ongoing campaign in Indian River County right now to deprive us of our constitutional and God-given right to keep and bear arms. There is a menacing group who has their eye on taking away our gun range so we cannot practice our rights as law-abiding gun owners. What is not well known, however, is exactly who is behind this radical effort to take away our firearms and to what extreme lengths they will go to achieve their goals. This area is highlighted. You will be amazed, as I was, to learn that the leadership Indian River Neighborhood Association, with the help of Commissioner Gary Wheeler, is behind this anti-gun rights plan. IRNA head George Christopher and Gary Wheeler are behind a deceptive plan to close our gun range as part of their efforts to undermine our Second Amendment rights. What makes me especially angry is that they are using the Indian River Neighborhood Association as their front. IRNA-supported candidates, handpicked by Christopher and Wheeler, are on the plan to switch the designation of the gun range from enterprise fund to recreation as part of an elaborate trick to ultimately close down the range. This area is highlighted. I don't believe the average citizen and member of the IRNA knows that these guys have really been using them as pawns for their personal agendas. I am convinced by their elitist attitudes that taking away our gun range is their first step to cleansing people like you and me who love our Constitution from Indian River County. This is a dire time for us and the freedoms we all enjoy as citizens of this country and of the United States. Our enemy is attempting to accomplish their many goals before we wake up and realize it is too late to do anything to stop them. Packing the county commission with anti-gun range zealots is something we simply cannot allow to happen. I think they hate us for the freedoms we enjoy, and the IRNA leadership is doing whatever they can do to fool us through a coordinated propaganda campaign. However, we cannot overlook this elitist enemy and their attempted power grab in our county. I fear our enemy is not just in a far-off land which we watch on TV, but is right on our doorsteps and is the Indian River Neighborhood Association. The Indian River Neighborhood and other radical groups who oppose our right to practice our Second Amendment rights want us to believe in a government which protects the right of its people. However, believing in our democracy means we must protect our God-given rights as Americans. Because we are the true personification of democracy and county government is elected to protect those inalienable rights. I ask that for our own safety and the safety of our families that you help me in opposing the attempted seizing of the county government by the Indian River Neighborhood Association. We must stop them from taking away our rights and driving us out of the county we all love so much. Sincerely, C.W., gun owners for keeping America free.
Thank you, Kim. I'd just like to say that also I think this letter is insulting to the intelligence of the people that own guns and use the range. And I'd like to ask Joe, and before I do, though, one other comment. I've had more than 20 phone calls, probably 30 phone calls, and quite frankly, I really felt good about the phone calls because all but one of them saw this letter for exactly what it was. And this letter is circulating, and I just thought it was important to get this out and let people know that this is just absolute propaganda. And Joe, and the only accurate thing in the entire letter is where I did say that we should look at putting this under recreation rather than enterprise fund, and that was basically to keep the gun range, because state law says after 5 years, if we don't produce and make it an enterprise fund, if you want to keep it going, it's got to be in a department. Is that correct, Joe?
Well, actually, the auditors had expressed that if it didn't make money, that I was going to have to move it and into out of an enterprise fund. They felt it should fall in a taxing fund at that point.
But I can tell you, I'm a gun owner. Off and on all my life, I've been a member of the NRA. I bought my 10-year-old grandson last year a .22 rifle. I take him up to the gun range and shoot with him. And I believe in gun safety and training, and I believe in the right to bear arms. So this whole thing is just absolutely nonsense. And I just find it offensive, and I wanted to bring it out here so everybody knows about it instead of just a few. So thank you, fellow commissioners.
Yes.
Just wanted to let you know that, Commissioner Wheeler, I'll sympathize with you on this. I've been attacked by, I won't want to say an anonymous letter, but a faceless entity, if you will. It's the editorial staff of the Press Journal, but it was, they tried to tie me to some clandestine something with the school district in a fish house, and so I sympathize with you, and I feel your pain, and I'll even bite my bottom lip.
Well, welcome to the club.
Yeah, and
Equal rights for all.
but I
can't wait to read the editorial tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, at least you got two initials that wrote it. They're just called the editorial staff that wrote mine. But anyhow, I don't. We're always being elected officials. We're going to take shots like this, and I'm a lifetime member of the NRA and have been since 16 years old, which is as soon as you're eligible for lifetime membership. And I don't know what to say other than let's move on.
Yeah,
Let's move. I agree with that. You have any comments?
I was going for a hat trick with the editorial, so.
You didn't get 3 in a row?
And that means you're 3 in a row in soccer, so I didn't get it. But I'm with you.
If there's no further business, we're adjourned. Was there further business?
Just ask for clarification on the vote on referendum. That does not remove the straw ballot vote on the U.S. ballot.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. We are adjourned.
Thank you.